Hello, I'm Kendall. It is September 5th, 2021, and this is my weekly wrap-up. Alright, so my weekly wrap-up of three main areas: accomplishments, areas for improvement, and exciting ideas. So starting off with accomplishments, the biggest one is I finished my first mystery short story, The Conflagration, which is a cozy mystery, right? No violence, not much language, a couple S words here or there, but yeah. So I finished that up, and I got my first feedback, first couple bits of feedback, which was fun, and I completed the story and plot editing process. So, second accomplishment is I started drafting an outline for the next 2 months and the stories that I'm focused on and involved in. Yeah, so for moving forward, I want to focus on three story sets. The first are techno-thriller shorts. These are short stories that explore new technologies or innovations. And where this comes from is my favorite genre to read, and in fact the one that I, on a fiction side, want to contribute to, is techno thrillers, right? I love Michael Crichton, and if you read The Conflagration, you will see that reference. But I love Michael Crichton to a lesser extent, even like Grisham. I consider techno thriller. I know they're legal thrillers, but it's the same concept of I know something very detailed and I'm going to share it, and when you read my story you will be entertained, but also you will learn something very intricate and detailed about my little bit of the world, right? So Dan Brown I would consider in here, right? When you're talking Angels and Demons, when you're talking what was this first one? Deception Point, Da Vinci Code, all of those, right? You're learning very intricate details. So anyway, so that's what I want to focus on, and so in order to build those skills, I actually thought it might be fun to write little short stories that focus on new technologies and innovations that have been developed over the past couple of years, right? So that you can read a short story and learn something new and interesting. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts about that, if that's interesting to you. The second set of stories that I'm going to focus on are morality tales. So this is if you look at my Ant and the Pyramid, right? That was basically like Aesop's fable. Kind of like that. These are intended to be explorations into simple but hopefully universal moral truths. And the purpose of this being to explore how succinctly I can tell and exercise a single concept. The third and final story that I want to focus on is my Republic story. If you've been tracking and following me for a while, you'll know that this is the one that focuses on those historical cycles, right? Tyranny, the five government types of Plato and Socrates, right? Which are aristocracy, oligarchy, right? All those. So who knows if I'll complete this story and if it'll ever actually work, but my goal for this month is to explore the structure and develop the 7 main characters. If I were to make a novel focused on the cycles, what would the plot structure be and who would the 7 characters be? So that's what I'll be focused on. Alright, areas for improvement that I learned this week, and there were 3. So the first, my speed did kick up several notches last week. I was pretty impressed, and that was pretty exciting to encounter. It was nice to kind of see that it can scale up so quickly. However, this is still an area that I want to continue focusing on. I don't think that the problem is solved, so I was excited to see that I can move the needle, and so moving forward we'll be focused on making sure that I keep that needle adjusted and optimized, to use tech talk. The second area of improvement is, so some of the initial feedback that I received on my short story, The Conflagration, suggests much more work to be done in the area of character description and development. For example, I realized that one character, Wyatt, I didn't even describe physically at all. So a few readers expressed concerns with being able to imagine him. My partner Justin specifically said, it wasn't until the end that I actually started to sort of envision what this character looked like. And as somebody who is also very visual, that's a pretty big roadblock. If I were reading and couldn't visualize a character, that would mean that they didn't really existed in my mind. So that's important. And my third area for improvement is I also received feedback on the general craft work of my story. For example, the big idea at the end could have been wrapped up a little more succinctly and maybe reiterated so that we made sure that the characters and the readers all understood it. So yeah. Exciting ideas. So last week I mentioned 3 interesting fiction ideas, and all 3 of those, the conflagration cycle theory into a thriller, and a time travel thriller working in recent discoveries about the grandfather paradox, will all fit into the above focus areas that I mentioned, right? Conflagration is done, the cycle theory I mentioned, and then the time travel paradox theory will be part of the techno-thriller shorts. The areas that won't fit in are the nonfiction works that I mentioned last time. I guess I've decided to focus more on fiction for probably the remainder of the year, um, since I think it has a wider audience. But I really am curious if anyone has any thoughts into that, because I don't know. Like, I originally got into writing because for the nonfiction side, but there is something about fiction that I really enjoy and that I think is calling me. So that's why I'm trying to meld the 2 worlds. Anywho, I guess that's it for this week. I hope you enjoy. I will be releasing the Conflagration this week, so I hope if you're watching this that you click on my links and enjoy that. Otherwise, have a great week.